Have you ever wondered what he is thinking during no contact? Wouldn't you love to know exactly what he really thinks and feels about you while not speaking to you? Oh, I've got some juicy news for you today, because on today's show, we're going to be discussing what your ex is thinking during no contact so that you can finally know what to do, or in this case, what not to do, so that you can get him to reach out to you. Number one is going to be tug of war. There is a war going on when you are in no contact with that man. The tug of war is always going to consist of who can break first. The person who breaks first, meaning the person who reaches out, right? They'll be saying subconsciously, look, I am in too much emotional pain not being around you or speaking to you. The increasing amounts of emotional pain I have went through is now so overwhelming. Whatever it is we were arguing about, whatever it is that you wanted or I wanted, I'm willing to capitulate and rearrange myself so that this can be fixed. Now, I know you're saying, but Tomisin, I just miss him. Can't I break no contact? You need to understand that you're setting groundwork for the rest of the relationship. And see, especially if you're in a situation where the no contact is existing because you're just disagreeing on things, or the no contact is existing because maybe he was doing things that you wouldn't like or appreciate from a boyfriend, especially if he is someone that has wronged you and you're breaking no contact when he is the one that has wronged you, what you're doing is you're losing this tug of war. You're losing the overall war. When you're building a relationship with someone from the ground up and you're working on that foundation is going to set the stage for everything that your relationship is going to be down the road. The dynamic of your relationship, how you guys speak to each other, how you guys interact with each other. So of course you're going to have disagreements. You're both individuals. There's nothing wrong with having a disagreement. But in the process of you having a disagreement and then going no contact in that disagreement, you have to understand you need to set the stage for this war, because make no mistake about it, your relationship, yes, there's lots of love, but there's also a war of power and control. And see, what a lot of guys are going to try to do with you and in the relationship with you at the very beginning is they're going to try to exercise their power and control over you as much as possible and as quickly as possible. You need to never forget that the process of a guy approaching you, you have all the leverage because you have something that he wants both physically and between your legs and emotionally, right? He wants to get to know you. He wants to get closer to you. You get to sit back and say, well, sir, if you want that for me, show me what you got. And see, when you're in that state, you don't need to be worried about how you can adjust or change yourself for him. Now, I'm not saying that you should never try to be a better person or you should never apologize for things, but I just need you to understand the mindset and approach you want to be coming out on your dates with is that, hey, if you want to get to know me, cool. Let's see if you're capable of being respectful. This is a tug of war when it comes to no contact. I'll give you an example of why a guy would go no contact. See, let's imagine that you go on a first date with the guy. And on this first date, when you're eating this meal, you're slurping up your spaghetti. You got spaghetti sauce all over your face. He's got fettuccine Alfredo, so he's got white sauce all over his face. He's like, well, wouldn't it be nice for us to go back to my place and drink some wine? And you're like, no, I've got some stuff to do and I'm not really in like a going back to the, your place type mode. And then he's saying, well, I took you out on this fancy date. You're slurping spaghetti. We should go back to my place and we should drink some wine. What's your problem? Why are you throwing a damper on things? And let's imagine after going back and forth, you guys are in a no contact situation where you're not speaking to each other because you're like, well, I'm not going to go back to your place if that's what you expect, or that makes you upset. Good for you. Be upset then. I'm not going to change how I feel. And see, this is an example of one of the ways that men are going to go no contact with you, aka give you the silent treatment in order to break you emotionally and get you to say, oh, you know what? My bad. I had boundaries, but you going no contact with me has now broken me emotionally, and I no longer want to stand on those things that I stood. So now instead, rather than doing that, I'm going to just capitulate to whatever it is that you want. He's going to say, great. So awesome. Now I know the key to getting everything that I want. When in reality, it's supposed to be the other way around. You're supposed to be the one sitting at home, and if he messes up, assuming he messed up, he is the one outside your door with a boombox playing your favorite song or your favorite love song and saying to you, please take me back. Please, I want to be in your life again. Now, I'm not saying that if you make a mistake that you shouldn't apologize for your mistake. Don't go to the extreme here. They're using emotional weapons, and it's an emotional war to see who is going to break first. A lot of guys are going to go no contact with you as a way of getting you to believe in the idea that you did something wrong, win this tug of war when there shouldn't have even been a war of who is right or wrong in the first place. What are you going to do? You're going to break no contact. You're going to come to him and say, look, I thought, I was okay being without you and not speaking to you, and I thought I had these boundaries and these standards. Let me rearrange my wording here. I think that those boundaries and standards were too much. I'm going to take those boundaries down a notch, and hopefully when I take those boundaries down a notch, you'll like me again. Get your hard hat on. We're going to war. We're going to war. All right? This ain't a game. I know that you think it's a game because, it's love and, it's relationships and boyfriend and girlfriends. It's war. We want you to get treated like a princess, but you have to understand you're going to be in a war. You're going to have to stand on some things first so that you can ensure for the rest of the relationship, you can relax and receive princess treatment. You have the control. Things are going to be on your terms when you want them, how you want them. And if he wants to have access to you, he has to meet your expectations. And you really want to be establishing that dynamic as early as possible. If you lose your grip on that dynamic, on this war, you're down the line, you're going to be committed to a man who is not really committed to you, doesn't have respect for you, doesn't listen when you talk, and has no fear when you set boundaries that if he crosses those boundaries, there will be consequences. And so it's very important to help him understand I'm not going to be moved or shaken off of my point, off of my boundaries, off of how I feel, just because you don't talk to me for a couple of days or a couple of weeks. Because what that will tell him is, cool, now I know that tactic doesn't work. Now, number two, what he's thinking about is using his best weapons and tactics on you. See, a smart man during no contact is going to know it's not enough to just go no contact. They learn that going no contact and just not speaking to you is not enough. Even better is increasing your pain level by actively showing you how good his own life is while he simultaneously doesn't speak to you. If I want to use all my best weapons, I'm not just going to go no contact. I'm also going to make sure that I live my best life and have her seeing me live my best life while simultaneously making her feel like I don't care about her. Have you ever noticed that when you go no contact with the guy, all of a sudden he stops watching your stories? You're picking up the phone, and every time you post, you're watching your story and you're going, did he watch it? Did he watch it? Did he watch it? I posted my dump truck. My dump truck's looking real good in my tight jeans. Yeah. Did he see that one? Wait, what? I posted it 3 hours ago. He hasn't even viewed it. And then you're checking the story every hour, looking through and scrolling through to hopefully see his profile picture that he's viewed your story. And you look like Boo Boo the Fool posting only to check if one person watched your story. Guys know how to use their best weapons because they can anticipate what you're doing as well. And they understand how to put you at that very close to that pain threshold. It's not just about using the weapon of no contact. It's about also making you feel like he doesn't care about you at all now. Even more painful than feeling like someone hates you is feeling like, damn, not only do you hate me, but you don't care about me. You don't notice me. You don't watch me. You don't care what I'm doing. And so in the process of that, he not only doesn't speak to you, but he also makes sure to not watch your stories. Have you ever noticed that the guy you're going no contact with seemingly has the most fun in his life, and on his story, he's out at every party, every event, spending so much time with all these people, and you're sitting there thinking, when did you get so many friends? When did you become so popular? I've never seen you post this much before in your entire life. How do you now all of a sudden have all of this to do throughout the week? Do you see how it's not an accident that he increases his amount of posts, how fascinating and awesome his life seems to be, all of a sudden goes crazy when you guys are going no contact? That's not a coincidence. It's definitely done on purpose, and guys are doing this on purpose because they're thinking about how to make you reach that pain threshold. A great way to turn a woman who wasn't even once a pick-me-sha into a pick-me-sha. Once he can do that and turn you into thinking about, hey, what should I be doing for you? He's won. He's won. But that's how easy the war can be won when your mind starts going to that place. Oh, you're not watching my stories? What's wrong with me? Is it because my dump truck isn't big enough? If I was cooler and more fun and said yes to everything, would you have been watching my stories? Would you be texting me right now? Instead of having so many boundaries, would you have wanted to spend your time with me instead of spending your time with this other girl? Soon as your mind goes there, you're cooked. You're cooked. Their best weapons also include making it look like they don't care about you, and it also includes making their life look as interesting and as fascinating as they possibly can while they don't speak to you. You need to understand that from the very beginning, you want to be showing those men that are trying to test you, look, I'm not someone that can be emotionally controlled. You can't use these strategies to try to get me to reach this pain threshold that I'll just be like, oh, F it, I'll just do whatever you want me to do. And when you show him that you can't be emotionally controlled, he then has to sit back and make a decision and ask himself, well, okay, if I'm going to be in this relationship with her and I can't emotionally control her, then my options are act right or not be with her. So if I know I'm only here to mess around and I'm only here to take advantage of her and try to control her and get her to do as much as what I want her to do, then he's going to say to himself, this is probably a waste of my time if I'm not here to actually be a good man to her. Some men, not all men, okay? Some men. And you want to weed those men out, and you also don't even want to give them an opportunity to think that you're one of those women. No matter what he does, no matter how he presents himself, no matter what strategy he uses, I am not going to budge. I don't do anything. I want you to not even be showing him any attention whatsoever. Don't be watching his stories back. You want to be muting him as well, so that you're not even tempted to watch his story or they don't even pop up on your timeline. The number 3 thing that he's thinking about, and I really, really mean this, he's going to be looking out for the signs of victory. Now, what are examples of signs of victories? So if he's not watching your stories all the time and you're watching his story in the first 30 seconds, what do you think he's thinking in his mind? Oh, we're close. Fellas, just hold on a little bit longer. We're just about to get to the finish line. They know you're thirsty and you're hungry and you're on edge. Remember how we just talked about earlier, one of the best weapons he'll use to put you in a lot of emotional pain is making his life seem really interesting, posting a bunch, going out to a bunch of places. On the other side as well, it also is a confirmation to him if you start posting in ways that is unnatural to you. See, one of the mistakes that you will make during no contact is, of course, you're going to want him to watch your stories and you're going to want him to see what you're doing and be jealous and whatever and reach out to you. Nothing strange about that. But here's the thing. You don't want to make it so obvious that you're trying to get his attention that you end up overdoing it and making it obvious that you're trying to get his attention. You want to be natural in the way that you post and in the way that you go about no contact. Now, if you're a serial poster, you like to post about memes and yourself and your outfits and everything that's going on with you at all times of the day, and that's normal for you to post 5 times a day, then that doesn't look unnatural. That is a clear telltale sign that you're now close to reaching your pain threshold, which is why you're jumping out the window and trying to compensate by over posting. But I want you to be cognizant of what is natural to you and keep it natural. Those guys are able to tell the difference between when you're posting naturally because you're unbothered and you don't care, or when you're over posting, trying to compensate and make it look like you're just, so unbothered and your life is so great and so amazing while you're in no contact. And then the guys know, okay, if I continue to pull back and just continue to go no contact, continue to not talk to her, not reach out to her, soon, very soon, she's going to be reaching that pain threshold. And when she reaches that pain threshold, I will be victorious. You want the guys to only get access to you again if they're breaking no contact to say, I need to make an adjustment. You don't want to allow guys to break no contact to just be like, hey, what's up with you? Sometimes guys will do a version of breaking no contact that's not actually breaking no contact. They'll just message you to see if by the time that they message you, you'll be like, oh my God, I was waiting for you to message me this entire time. I was missing you and wanted to be with you so badly. He's going to say, oh, cool. When guys come back from no contact, you want to be not giving them anything unless they're coming back in a way where it's like, let me acknowledge what I did wrong and how I need to adjust my behavior. The men in your life aren't stupid. They're a little bit emotionally stunted, but they're not stupid. So they know if they disrespect you or they're not treating you like they should, if they're taking this relationship serious, they know that they've been doing that. So when they come back and they just say, hey, what's up? How you doing? And then they proceed to do the exact same thing they've always been doing. They also know that if they actually were apologetic for what they did and they knew that they weren't going to get access to you unless they actually fixed what they were doing wrong, they know how to come back and apologize for that. Guys know how to make adjustments if they want to make adjustments. They pretend not to know how to make adjustments because it behooves them, and playing dumb will allow you to do all the work. Let me give you an example of that. If a guy shows up on a date with you 2 hours late, and he doesn't address it or apologize for it, and you're thinking, maybe I shouldn't go no contact, or I should let him know that I'm upset because he showed up 2 hours late for a date. No, he has critical thinking skills. If someone held a gun up to his head and said, hey, tell me why that girl is upset with you, and he were to think to himself, I wonder why she's upset with me. Maybe it's because I showed up for a date that was planned at 8 p.m. I showed up on that date at 11 p.m. That's why she's upset. Sometimes I know that you guys are thinking maybe he doesn't know, which is why he disrespected me when he hasn't even shown himself to be someone who's trying to build a relationship with you in the first place. And there's a difference there. That's not because he doesn't know. That's just because he doesn't have the intention to know or care. Now, number 4 is what I call battening down the hatches. See, there comes a point where he realizes, okay, I want to be prepared for the onslaught of emotion that's going to come at me. When guys are doing no contact right and you break the no contact or you reach your pain threshold, they're going to mentally prepare themselves for the ways that they're going to gaslight you into helping you to believe in the idea that you did something wrong and you are the one that needs to make an adjustment. If you're going no contact and this no contact is kind of stemming from things that, whether it be he's not taking this relationship seriously, he doesn't seem to care, he doesn't seem to treat you right, he's not giving you princess treatment, or maybe it's just fizzling out. By the time you come back and you've reached that emotional threshold, he's now going to be battening down the hatches because he knows when you come with that wave of emotion, all he has to do is stay put, right? Stay the course, not say anything, and not apologize for anything while you spill over emotionally and spiral down a dark path. He's going to say to himself, great, you're spiraling, so you're not going to realize that I actually have something to apologize for myself. I'm actually supposed to be the one coming to you and trying to work on this and fix this and adjust this. Now you think that you're the one that needs to make all the adjustment, makes all the fixes, do all the planning, do all the apologizing, and that's great for me, the man, because when you do all the apologizing, now in the future, you're going to be thinking anytime we go no contact, you're going to have in your mind this past situation, and you're going to be thinking we're going no contact because I did something again. So even if he does something to you, no contact is always going to feel like I did something to him. When he does this the right way and he does this the first time, it becomes easier every time after that, because going no contact for you will be so painful that you'll forget that no contact isn't even stemming from the fact that you did something wrong. It's actually stemming from the fact that he wants to avoid having to acknowledge doing wrongdoing so that you feel so much in pain that you apologize to him for nothing. When guys are battening down the hatches, they're going to be preparing themselves for the worst, the scenario in which he does not want to be around you or with you if he's not going to get emotional control over you. So if he really is serious about this no contact to break you emotionally, he's going to say to himself, unless she breaks no contact and comes to me apologizing for absolutely nothing just because she wants us to return back to our situation, I don't want to be with her. I'm not interested in being in a mutual relationship where I respect her and give her princess treatment. No, I just want her to be a yes girl and a fun girl that I can call up at 3 or 4 a.m. whenever I feel like calling her up. Because like I always tell all of you amazing people, it's not that men are horrible people or horrible creatures or supervillains, even though the way I describe them makes them sound like supervillains. But you have to understand that people in general, and especially the men that you date, are going to try to push the boundaries as far as you allow them to be pushed. So if you show them that going no contact with them allows you to say, you know what, I thought not sleeping with you was a good idea, but in fact, I realized I should sleep with you as soon as you want me to sleep with you, they're going to say to themselves, great. So I'll just get what I want and do whatever it takes to break you down emotionally so that I can get what I want, however I want to get it, whenever I want to get it. And if you're going to continue allowing me to walk all over you, well, I'll continue to walk all over you. If you don't stand up for yourself or set boundaries or force people to have standards who are going to be in your life, then people will say, cool, I will take advantage of you as much as you allow me to. And the winner gets what they want. Is number 5. The winner gets to write the terms for the future, gets to write the Constitution, and how everyone's going to go about it from there on. During no contact, you're in this tug of war, and whoever comes back on bended knee saying, I apologize, I'm the one that needs to make an adjustment, we need to break this no contact because it's too emotionally painful for me, and I would rather speak to you than stand on these boundaries, that becomes the establishment for the rest of the relationship. You also show that guy, once this has happened, that you care so much more about his attention than you do about anything else, than you even do about yourself. And so when he's in no contact with you and you're not getting his attention, your life is falling apart. And so you're showing him that he is the be all and end all of your life. People only value you when they feel like without them, your life is still amazing. In fact, maybe even a little bit better. The easiest way to get people to not value you whatsoever is to allow them to come into your life and feel like they are the best thing since sliced bread and they have brought all of the happiness and joy into your life simply by existing in your life. Because it shows them that if I take myself out of your life, then I take simultaneously all of your happiness and joy. Your partner should be part of your happiness and joy. But if they come in your life with the belief and understanding that they are all of your happiness and joy, they will say, so if I don't act right, but I don't apologize, and in fact, rather than apologizing, I take away myself, I take away her happiness and joy. Why? Remind me again why I have to do anything for her when I'm all of her happiness and joy. Remind me again why I should be in fear of her leaving me if I cross her boundaries or if I don't act the right way or if I don't treat her the right way. So anytime I take a step back, she'll be begging for me back so much, she won't care about having boundaries or standards. And the people that respect you the most and treat you the best are the people who will be in the most fear that, hey, if I don't treat you well and put my best foot forward, you will not be with me anymore. The person that I love should love me too, and it should all be about love, and this should be like a Disney princess movie. The thing that they don't talk about in the Disney princess movies is the only girls and women that get all of that amazing princess treatment from their men are the men who are in fear that, hey, if I don't put my best foot forward, she not gonna be with me. Fear can also be a motivating factor to get people to respect you and treat you well. And I'm not talking about the fear that you're gonna hit him or the fear that you're gonna do something bad to him, but the fear that, hey, on a daily basis, I gotta choose her and I gotta put my best foot forward here, right? Getting access to her is earned through the way that I treat her. It's not just my right. It comes with the way that I go about our relationship. And see, the fear comes in where they're saying to themselves, hey, I actually have to be thinking about doing my best here. Think about the things that you do for yourself, right? Simply from a fear of either failing or not doing well or be embarrassed. So I say that to say fear can even be a motivating factor to get you to do good things, because you can get a lot of positive things out of what we consider negative emotions, and vice versa, you can get a lot of negative things out of what we would consider positive emotions. Now, it doesn't necessarily have to be something on the front of his mind every day, but it can be a subconscious thought that men have when they say to themselves, you're not going to take anything less than the best, because that's what you know yourself to deserve. Guys are going to be thinking to themselves, if I can get you to say yes to everything, then I'll mess with you and I'll be around you. And I'll spend time with you. But if you're not going to be willing to say yes to everything, then I don't want to spend my time with you. But I want you to be okay with that. Continue to have standards. In fact, continue to increase your standards so none of the trash men below your standards can ever get access to you. You want your standards to be extremely high. You want to give no access to the men who aren't prepared to meet your standards. Why? Because by the time you finally end up in a relationship that you're going to be in for the rest of your life, that person is going to be with you ready to meet those expectations.